Your Excellency, by virtue of your seniority in India, you are also Dean of the Diplomatic Corps here. So what are your responsibilities? What does it involve to be Dean of the Diplomatic Corps in India?
Well, the Dean is kind of a guide for new diplomats that arrive. He is also a bridge between the diplomats and the Chief of Protocol of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs whenever there's any uneventful situations. The Dean usually is the one who guides, first of all, represents all of the diplomats in India in certain occasions, because of course having 158 embassies in India, all 158 ambassadors cannot be invited to every event that sometimes other countries invite all of the diplomatic corps. So the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps represents all of their colleagues when a heads of state arrives in India, when a foreign minister arrives in India for any special occasion where the diplomatic community is required to be present somehow, and where there's no space for the 158 ambassadors. As a dean, I think that it's important to welcome the new ambassadors, introduce the new ambassadors to the rest of the diplomatic community. We are also responsible to organizing the farewell or giving a memorabilia of their time in India by giving them a silver plate, which becomes a constant reminder of their time as head of a mission in Delhi. When I arrived in India in 2006, late 2005, early 2006, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps was the ambassador of Bhutan, a seasoned diplomat who had been ambassador here for many years, who later became one of the first parliamentarians in Bhutan, and who is still an advisor to the foreign minister of Bhutan. And he was an excellent dean. He introduced every ambassador that arrived in India, would meet him first, would get any suggestions from him. He would guide you on the procedures of credentials. He will guide you on who's who in the ministry. And at the same time, whenever you had an issue that you did not know how to deal with the ministry itself, you called him. And he would be kind of an advisor, a guide, and a way to open doors in this new country that you are now responsible to work in. Now, he used to have monthly meetings, and he would introduce every new ambassador. He would farewell the ambassadors leaving. He would be a unifier of ambassadors, because ambassadors tend to sometimes stick together within the regional groups. You know, African ambassadors only go out with African ambassadors, and Latin ambassadors go with Latin ambassadors, and Arab ambassadors go out and mingle and socially associate themselves with the Latin ambassadors, Europeans with Europeans, Asians with Asians, Central Asians with Central Asians. The Dean was the unifier of these groups. They, when he introduced the new ambassadors, when he farewelled the ambassadors, every group got together in his house, and there suddenly you started making bridges between the regions. And I think that one of the most exciting things of being ambassador in India is not only you have a huge country with many groups of people with different languages and different cultures and different costumes, you are right in the middle of between the Gulf, between Asia, between Central Asia, between Africa, and you have such a big number of missions here that you can really work your bilateral agenda with many countries. For example, here in Dominican Republic, they have accredited me in 11 countries. I am concurrent ambassador to Sri Lanka, to Thailand, to Malaysia, to Vietnam, to Philippines, to Mauritius, to Kazakhstan. And from India, we have actually established relations with many Central Asian countries, which we did not have. We've established relations with Nepal and Bangladesh and Afghanistan, neighboring countries to India that we did not have relations with. But we've also established relations with Gulf countries and African countries from India.
So, Mr. Ambassador, you want to say that you transcend bilateralism and reach the truly multilateral, international.
When you're in a capital like Washington, Beijing, and Delhi or Tokyo or Brussels, you can do that. There's so many missions that are not in other countries that you can really open bridges and open opportunities for your country between this country towards other countries. And I think this is what the small countries that are here, I see embassies like Mali, like Uganda, like El Salvador, like Costa Rica, also establishing relations with other countries in the region, not only with Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh, like most embassies cover. They're looking beyond this. They're looking at Central Asia, they're looking at Southeast Asia, they're looking at North Africa.
So in that capacity, which areas of cooperation and collective facilities, are you exploring with the city, national or state governments?
Look, one of the things I want to do as a dean is, first of all, in these meetings that we do periodically, I don't want it to be just a welcome meeting and a farewell meeting. I want to invite important Indian government officials, even businessmen, that will enrich our tenure in India.
Okay.
That by meeting them, we have an opportunity of exploring new opportunities in the bilateral relation between our countries. In the first meeting that I did as dean, we invited the new Director General for the ICCR, Indian Council of Cultural Relations. It is a unique tool that India offers all embassies to bring your cultural artists and your painters and your musicians to come to India and visit not only Delhi but different cities. A lot of ambassadors don't have a relationship with ICCR, don't even know the opportunities that ICCR offers, so I invited the new Director General. Now I am being a little aggressive and I'm inviting Prime Minister Modi to meet with us in the next meeting, or maybe meet the Foreign Minister, or maybe invite the President Mukherjee or Vice President Sali, because you know, Prime Minister Modi has been traveling the world sending a message to the capitals of the world.
Yeah.
And he has forgotten that all the messengers of our capitals are here in Delhi. So why not meet directly with the messengers before his trips, or even before he plans a trip, or even when he cannot make a trip? Because the message that Modi is taking to the world, he can effectively arrive to our capitals through us. And Prime Minister Modi, when he was Chief Minister in Gujarat, gave a lot of importance to the relationship with heads of mission. He would invite us for Vibrant Gujarat. He would personally meet with us. He would talk to us about opportunities in Gujarat. And now he is being very active in the foreign affairs arena. As Prime Minister, he's invited neighboring countries to his swearing-in ceremony, which had never happened before. He has done an excellent job with the India-Africa conclave recently, something that I have to congratulate India for the magnificent way that it was a huge task for the MPA.
Such a grand level.
To have 52 heads of mission, heads of states in India at the same time, and how excellent everything was prepared and went through. And I hope that they do the same with Latin America in the future, and they do the same with other regions of the world. But I mean, Mr. Modi has done things differently. He has personally visited Central Asia as a group. He has visited Africa. He has visited Europe. He's going to all these summits, Commonwealth, APEC, ASEAN, G20. Why not have a direct meeting with the ambassadors through the Dean office? And we have invited him. We also plan to keep inviting him and keep inviting other government officials to meet with us on this Dean meeting. So this Dean meeting becomes not a farewell activity, but an activity with substance, that each ambassador can not only pay his respects to the people that are leaving and the ambassadors that are coming, but also take something important to their capitals, that they've met somebody that maybe otherwise they could not have had the opportunity to meet. So this is one of the things I'm trying to change in the Dean's meeting, that this meeting is not maybe monthly, but when it's done maybe every 3 months, we have an effective and very important connection with someone or some place or some institute or some company in India that will open doors for their tenure while they're in India.
Okay, so Your Excellency, during your long stay in India and now being the Dean of Diplomatic Corps also, can you share a few moments with us down the memory lane?
Well,
great moments.
The changes that Delhi has gone through in the 9.5 years I've been here, from the airport to the roads to the malls. There was no malls here except Khan Market and Priya Market. Now I think Delhi has more malls than lots of Asian cities. You have one of the finest airports in Asia, where when I arrived it was probably one of the worst airports in the world. Now you have gone from the worst to one of the best in just a short period of time. I think during Commonwealth, the Commonwealth Games in India gave a jump start to to
Yeah.
realizing that you cannot hold on the development of this airport anymore. You had to continue, you had to make it work, you had to make it happen. You were competing now with capitals like Beijing that build the master airport in 2 years. And here they have been years trying to build this airport and nothing had happened because of bureaucracy, because of democracy, because of changes of government. It had to be done and it was done. And I can see that now this fact that this new government has developed the electronic visa, and as I said, I think this is a great thing that it was not happening before. It was very difficult to get a visa for India. Now the government is opening to have more tourists, to facilitate the arrival of foreigners. That will, tourism brings sustainable development to the most poorest of communities. And people don't realize that if a hotel is built in a poor area, but this not only gives employment to maybe 20, 30 employees of that region, of that village, of that district, it develops the agriculture, it develops the art craft, it develops the employment of taxi drivers, the development of tour guides. The impact in the community when tourism is developed is the fastest way for the elimination of poverty in a nation and in a community. Because hotels have a multiplying effect. You're not only hiring 20 people, one to check your bags and to clean the room and to serve the meal, you're buying more lettuce, more tomato, more breads, more food. So immediately the baker is making more money, the guy that grows the lettuce and the tomato is making more money, the guy that is selling the water is making more money, the guy that is selling the chemicals for the pools is making more money, and the hotel has a positive impact in the community. And then people do not feel threatened by tourism. They feel that tourism is an important part of their development, their growth, and their ways of eliminating
poverty. So it's inclusive. It's inclusive also. It's sustainable, inclusive, equitable,
and Indians have to develop more infrastructure, help develop more food, have sometimes you go to a restaurant in a hotel in India and there's only Indian food. Not everybody can eat chili. Not everybody likes the heaviness of the Indian food at night. So you must have options for tourists. You must have to develop the fact that not everybody can eat spicy food. And maybe have 1 or 2 options for the foreigner. But you also need to keep your uniqueness. This is what makes the traveling to India more unique. If you only serve the same food that people get in their countries, then people will not be interested in coming to India. Then you have to keep the uniqueness of your culture, of your roots, of what you are and who you are, but at the same time give certain options to people that maybe because of health reasons cannot eat chili or cannot eat spicy food. So this is one of the things that the tourism industry here needs to keep in mind.
So okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for the time, and thank you for also bringing the diplomatic community to the people of India. I think you're doing a great job in your magazine and in your videos and your website to let the community aware of what others are doing, of how others perceive India, how others are working in the development of the bilateral relation. And this is very good for the diplomatic community and for the people interested in the way India is developing their relationships with the world.
Thank you very much. This is V.N. Jha along with Amay Sathe for diplomacyindia.com at the Embassy of Dominican Republic in New Delhi.